You know, every company on the planet wants to keep its people safe. But how do the best of the best actually pull it off? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the global blueprint for workplace safety, ISO 45001. We're going to break down what it is, how it works, and show you why it's a total game changer, not just another boring rulebook.
So this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you go from just reacting when things go wrong to actually building a system that stops them from happening in the first place? It turns out there's a world-renowned framework that gives us the answer, and that's exactly what we're diving into.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the real goal of a safety system. Then, we'll get into the engine that makes it all run, the PDCA cycle. After that, we'll quickly cover some key terms so we're all on the same page. And we'll wrap up with the single most important idea you need to remember. Simple. Okay, let's start with the 30,000-foot view. What's the real point of having an occupational health and safety, or OH&S, management system? Believe me, it's about a massive shift in how you think about safety.
Here's the critical thing to get. ISO 45001 is not just a long list of rules you have to follow. Think of it more like a strategic system, a framework that helps a company proactively sniff out and manage its safety risks. And, this is just as important, the opportunities to get better. It's all about weaving safety right into the DNA of the organization.
And for a system like this to actually work, a few things are absolutely non-negotiable. First, you need real, genuine commitment from the very top. It can't just be lip service. Then you've got to have everyone, and I mean everyone, participating. And of course, you need solid ways to spot hazards and have clear goals. But honestly, the secret sauce, it's creating a culture that is always looking for ways to improve. Safety is never just done.
So if that's the goal, how in the world do you make it happen? Well, the answer is in the engine that powers this whole thing, the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. This is the heart and soul of ISO 45001.
Naturally, it all begins with the plan. This is the stage where you identify your risks, figure out what the law requires, and set some really clear, measurable safety goals. You're basically asking, okay, what are we trying to achieve here and what's our roadmap to get there?
Next up, you do. This is where the rubber meets the road for real. You take all those plans and put them into action. You're running training sessions, putting safety controls in place, making sure people have the right gear. You're actually executing the plan.
But how do you know if any of this is actually working? Well, that brings us to the check phase. This is all about looking at the results. You monitor what's happening, you do audits, and you measure your performance against those goals you set way back in the planning stage. It's all about data, not just gut feelings. And finally, we act. This is where the magic really happens. You take all that data from the check phase and you take action. You fix what's broken, you tweak your processes, and you feed all those lessons learned right back into the system, making it even smarter for the next go-round.
And this just shows you how it all fits together so perfectly. Plan, do, check, act. It's not a one-way street. It's a loop that never stops. Each time you go through the cycle, you get a little bit better, a little bit safer. This right here is the engine of a truly proactive safety culture.
Okay, so to really get the most out of this framework, you kind of have to speak the language. So let's do a quick run through of a few key terms, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
First one up is scope. Now, this sounds super technical, but it's actually dead simple. It just defines which parts of the company the safety system covers. Is it for the whole organization? Just one specific factory? Maybe a single department? The scope just draws the line in the sand. Next, we have normative references. The easiest way to think about this is like the required reading list for the standard. It's just pointing you to other essential documents that you absolutely have to look at to implement ISO 45001 correctly. It makes sure you've got all the pieces of the puzzle. And finally, terms and definitions. This is basically the official dictionary for the standard. It makes sure that when the document uses a word like risk or incident, everybody, no matter where they are in the world, knows exactly what it means in this context. It creates a universal language for safety.
So, we've looked at the goal, the cycle, the lingo. What's the one big thing you should walk away with after all of this? If you remember one thing, let it be this. ISO 45001 is not about having a checklist you tick off after something bad has already happened. No way. It's a living, breathing, proactive system designed to stop incidents before they even start, all by building a genuine culture of safety and constant improvement.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about.
When it comes to your own workplace, is the approach to safety just about doing the bare minimum to stay out of trouble? Or is it about building something so much more powerful, a true, deep-rooted culture of prevention? Because that difference, well, that's everything.